So this first picture in this series that I want to talk about is called Conversations. It's the beginning of the end, so to speak, of this story that I want to tell with these 4 photographs. It speaks to communications between people, and I'm really curious about that as a topic. There's so much that goes unsaid just in body language, the things that we communicate with when we look a certain way or the way we carry ourselves. So this is apparent in this picture we want to tell, in that the female is seductive, she's open, she's longing maybe in her body language and in the way she's looking forward into the photograph towards the guy, which is in a separate room. And he is just kind of ignorant, ignoring that. So there's a tension between these 2 people. This is the emotion that I want to try to portray. So how do we create tension, not only between people in the way they look or relate to each other, but also in color palette, in composition, and also in the way that we shape highlights with light. So these are really the big elements for me in this photograph. We're going to try to tell a story of longing and ignorance. We're going to try to use color in a way that helps support that. Obviously, we don't want to go all bright and happy and tons of light flooding in the windows for this one. We want to create something that's moodier, more down, it's desaturated. We're going to use blues and greens a lot, and then try to contrast those with warmer tones so that the eye go to where the warmer spots are in the picture. For me, there's really 2 focus points to this picture, right? We need to have the eye travel from the guy to the girl and then back again somehow. So I imagine we do this in highlights and light, putting spotlights maybe on these 2 elements, but also maybe color. We have a model that has beautiful red hair, and it's not random that we've chosen her and her look for this specific picture. So it's very important going into a picture like this that we have a clear idea of the emotional content. What is it that we want to describe? Whenever I come into a location before a picture like this, I take a deep breath and I just sort of ask myself, how does this feel? And then from there, I start to shape it. To come into a place, to create a picture like this and just look at what's there and shoot it does not quite work. In this case, we have to shape it. We will use bluer tone gels, we will probably block off a lot of windows and really shape the atmosphere of this picture to create something that speaks to that initial emotion of the conversational piece that I want to say. So in this mood board, there's a few things that I like with each of these pictures. 3 of them describe the body language of the female. 2 of them have cigarettes in it. I might use that. But it's more about the way that they carry themselves, the sensuality of it. There's one here looking in camera, longing. There's a woman up here and her, even though we don't just see her back. You see the body language in all of these have sort of this sensuality, or there's air to them that is almost seductive to me. In these 2 pictures, there's a dynamic between 2 people that I'm looking for. One looking away, the other looking at the other in the painting. In this Crewdson image, one is distracted by TV and the other is in the kitchen, and there's an obvious sadness to me between the 2. So I take sort of these, the longing of these women, the color of these pictures, the light qualities that I talked about, using highlights to shape it, using color to shape it. This woman has a goldenish tone to her hair, we want red here. So I'm looking at these pictures and I think about what I have up here and what I have in here. And I will massage this to something that I see in front of me. And then from there, it sort of takes on a life on its own. We're going to come to a location that's not going to look like this. We don't have the dollars to build a big set, so we're coming into someone's house and we're going to try to massage that to tell this story and use these emotions from these and from here the best we can to create one unique and original piece. So from idea and concept we go into production, and the process in all this is to start with a place to get this done. So that means me finding the location. For exterior locations, I could go out and find it myself or lean on other people or places I've seen before, places I've been. Now for this, finding interiors or houses is a little different. What we usually do is to call a location company, and they present a library of locations that they have, where they have pictures of the place, contact to the homeowners, usually a price of what it takes to get in there, and they present to us what they have available for these days that we want to shoot. So that was the process of finding the place. Birdman is the resource that we use in Northern California. We went through, I don't know, 50, 60 homes maybe that was presented to me for me to look at. And we ended up not too far actually from where I live. We're just going to drive about 10 blocks and go into an apartment that's it's quite beautiful. It has that downtrodden little worn quality that I think would be beautiful for this picture. The second part obviously is finding the right model. So we go into casting. The casting I talked a little bit about in the hair color. So we wanted someone vibrant that could help bring color to the muted tonality. So we ended up with a stunning redhead. Her name is Tia. Again, we call modeling agencies in San Francisco. They present people that's in our price bracket and that's available for the day. And from that, we choose. And when I say we, it's myself, the hair and makeup person, and the stylist. Assembling a crew is really important. Now, the two ladies I'm going to work with on hair and makeup and styling for this specific shoot, I have worked with for 14 or 15 years now. They approached me when I was still an assistant. They said, hey, we've seen your work, it's beautiful, we should create something together. And we have been creating something together since. We fight sometimes, we bicker, and we really are strong personalities that want to create something beautiful, but when we get together, we push and push, and we really put ourselves behind the emotional quality that I want to say, and we all are really, really passionate about the pictures. So I could never do all this stuff without their input. They wouldn't just say, oh, you go ahead and decide. I really need to run this by them to really make sure that they are part of the process, that they feel good about both location and models. So when I say we, it truly is a we. It's not just me putting all this stuff together. So that's the practicalities of it. In this case, finding the right location that speaks to the idea that we want to convey, finding the right girl. We could speak about casting as well, but in this case, it's specific in the hair color. So I'm looking for someone that's sensual, open, attractive, red hair, and that ended up being this lady from Look. When it comes to the equipment to execute a picture like this, let me start with the light. Obviously, this is not quite a natural light thing. We have to shape it quite a bit. So we're going to have strobes and lights with us. On the strobes, we're going to have gels in the greener, bluish tone so that we can put some color cast to the location. We want to make sure that there's dapples to it. So we want to use some practical light sources, lamps that will spill onto the legs or shape the body or bring some attention to the background, so that's important as well. Profoto with different harder shapers for this. Maybe a broader source for the main person, but that smaller sources will be the key to like create pools and pockets and sort of a cinematic feel to it. We'll talk more about that when we get to location. When it comes to the cameras, there's different cameras for different things for me. It's not one camera always. This has a quieter sensibility, so I'll probably use the camera on a tripod. It might be longer exposures. I feel longer exposures when people sit quiet create sort of a textural, again, cinematic quality to it. So I might do that, use longer exposures on tripod, half a second maybe. And then on the medium format contacts, the 5D would be just as beautiful. We could put that on a tripod as well, and we'll explore that when we get there. But that's kind of what I'm thinking for gear. So I think that describes the emotional content that we're after in creating this conversation picture. The one event that set off all these others that we want to describe in these series of pictures that we want to create.